Okay. Minutes, December 13th and 17th will be completed by January 21st. Okay, request to meet with the board, none. Abstract number 12 of 2019, motion to approve.
I'll make that. Second.
Questions? And all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Old business?
Steve, with the, with my update on the sign?
Sure.
Okay. All right, my committee for the signs, for the traffic here, I'm happy to say is Tommy Steve, who's very, very knowledgeable. He helped us out with the power lines in the village and all that stuff. Paul Bratton. We have Ron Feller and Sean Mears from the town to handle this. And what our goal here is obviously to put up signs to deter the truckers from coming in here. Now, as far as the state routes, we're getting beat up on that. I still don't understand why, and I have a couple of phone calls in, because the signs that the board is proposing are not telling people, or not telling truckers, weight limits, height requirements. All it's doing is telling them that we're enforcing the rules. And I don't see how that's any different than welcome to the village of Montgomery, or Montgomery's a beautiful place, or anything. All it's doing is saying this is what we're enforcing. But like I said, if it was the Mario Cuomo sign, it would be up yesterday. We went across the Tappan Zee Bridge a couple of days ago, and there were so many Mario Cuomo signs, I thought it was on I-85 seeing south of the border. But that's another story. So I'm working on it, getting it in the village here. But what I'd like to see, my wife Sue and I sat down a couple of times. We sat down here on the bench and we watched the trucks coming around the corner here. I would say probably for every three that went around the corner, one went up on the sidewalk. Almost hit the telephone pole. And on a separate note, buddy, if you guys got a chance, some jerk put graffiti on the bench down there, took a picture of it. It's some subway graffiti. If you guys can just put something on it, because that's not what the village is about. So I appreciate it.
Richie Reynolds bench?
Huh?
Richie Reynolds bench, or?
The one right next to Richie's bench. So I would consider it his bench, but somebody did that. That's what we're trying to keep out of here. But we sat on the bench and we watched this, and there had to be about 20 trucks coming down here, tractor trailers. And going back to what I'm saying, we were looking, there were a couple making locals, but they were all no-name trucks. They were all no-name trucks. And like I said, I believe they were avoiding the DOT Walk Hill Rest area down there. Because I've heard it on the CB radio, and I've talked to truckers, and I've talked to DOT troopers. They'll use this, or they use Ors Mills Road to avoid DOT. The legitimate truck driver is not avoiding DOT because he's above board. So that's what's coming through. I would like to see, we spoke to the board on this. I'd like to see this sign that we had made up. We had these made up. I'd like to see this sign being put entering the village at Goodwill and say Beaver Dam, and on Chandler. Now, what we're trying to do is we're trying to get it out towards the auto body place before they even turn onto Goodwill Road. Whoop, don't want to go that way. Or before they come into the village, go down 416. Stay out of here. Now, are we going to keep everybody out? No, we're not. But we're still going to keep some of them out. That's what I'd like. You guys in agreement with something like that? In agreement, let's say on Chandler? And
We
on,
approved the money for this, didn't we, Mike?
I'm sorry?
We approved them.
not to put them there, just to, what I would want to do is I'd want to put them like with a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit. But we didn't approve exactly where to put them yet.
That's what he wants to know, but we can put them.
Because we have control of the village. Then we have the town. Now Steve has, because he's a county legislator, we benefit a lot on that. And we're hooked up with the with the Assistant Public Safety, Public Works Director out there, who's gonna, like I said before, looking for spots in the town where we can put this, because the state is doing nothing for us, absolutely nothing, and that's really where we need it. So, I still have more signs that say, no turn, yes?
Sorry, am I allowed to ask a question or?
Yeah.
Has anybody approached the town board about like working together on this?
Yeah, we got it.
Okay.
Yeah, we're already set on that thing.
Okay,
And we've spoken to the county
okay.
commissioner of public works and deputy commissioner, as Mike alluded. So.
And I think we'll have good luck with them, because I already spoke to them before we actually met.
Yeah,
But, you know, Tommy spoke with them. So we're all friends. But when it comes to the state, we're not friends. So I'm pushing that more, because just because one guy says in Poughkeepsie, nah, that don't meet standards. Well, you know what? So who's your boss?
it's my understanding that there's a lot of, lack of communication within the DOT office itself. And that's an issue with like most of the planners that I've talked to,
Oh, yeah.
so
Oh,
most of the
yeah.
engineers,
You know
so
what
I
they
think,
told
I'm
me?
sure there's something that we can do.
When I told them that I know that the truckers are avoiding the DOT rest area, they go, yeah, we know that, but we don't have manpower. So, okay, so how with those in Montgomery? Well, get your manpower. But I'll work on that on there, but we're okay with this?
Yeah, let's just look at those locations, if I can meet with you and. Buddy,
Absolutely,
and,
absolutely,
yeah.
but
That's
it's
okay.
just, we're.
Yeah, we're okay with the signs, I think, we said that, we told you that, yeah.
Yeah, okay, the signs and then the location to pick them, because,
Pick
you
the
know,
locations.
Yeah.
whether you're for or against these warehouses, that's a whole separate thing. We just wanna start now. If they come in, we're prepared. If they don't come in, we're prepared. We just wanna have something out there. And let's see, got another thing. That's it?
Okay, thanks, Mike, and your meeting's coming up soon.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, chief, yeah.
Follow up on some comments from earlier on the incident on 84 where traffic was diverted down 211. We initially weren't notified by the state that they were closing, officially notified by the state. We kind of heard it through the fire channels that they were closing 84, so it took us about an hour and a half to properly man some posts once we were notified. Once manned, we were able to flush traffic through. Wasn't manned until approximately 9 a.m. The bulk of the traffic backed up, from what I understand, was from 7 to 9, rush hour to the village. But once manned, we were able to flush it out by diverting tractor trailers on the 416 and opening the traffic right up, right at 1710 and 211. And that quickly resolved the problem. But in speaking to Chief Anthor around the town, they also experienced some traffic backups because of that. And the two of us have agreed to co-author a plan addressing future 84 closures that we could easily put a plan into place when notified. We also co-authored a memorandum to the state police requesting that they notify the chiefs if they plan on flushing the toilet down towards the village of Montgomery again in the future. So
Good, yeah, because it was, I saw it at 6 in the morning that
Yeah.
night, and it was, I'd never seen it like that in my life.
yeah,
It was bad.
it was bad.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hopefully we won't have a recurrence of that. Hopefully the 84 doesn't get closed for 5 hours again in the future
Yeah, that's all.
soon. But hopefully we'll be able to address it more efficiently next time. Also, let's see. I'm requesting board approval to register Officer Noreen for the Child Passenger Safety Technical Conference, which she attended last year. This year it's in Lake Placid, May 5th through 7th. The cost of the lodging and attendance is covered by the Governor's Traffic Safety Grant. We would have to cover her salary for 8 hours per day if it fell on the day she's supposed to work.
Okay, motion to approve that. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
And also, we've, as I previously notified the board, registered Officer Coldenbach to attend their school in Montour Falls, January 13th through the 24th. I understand there was some concern that he was a replacement for Officer Smith. That's not the plan, that
Yeah.
he's to act as a substitute.
There was a
for Officer
concern there,
Smith.
but I assured Officer Smith, that in no way, shape, or form that would happen.
As I did as well.
He was ready to,
Yes.
you know.
So he would act as a substitute.
But this was really approved a couple of years ago before
Yes,
Officer Colvin back some unfortunate accident anyway.
correct.
So,
So he
Okay.
still expressed interest in attending that school, and it only comes up once a year.
okay. Motion to approve that.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
And we have,
Officer Nicole Brooks's resignation letter I have in front of me, motion to approve for, she's committed to her full-time department and isn't available anymore. Motion to approve her resignation letter, effective yesterday.
I make that. Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Okay, anything else? So we have an executive, right?
yes.
Everybody?
Can't start with the garbage tipping rates are going up January first again, so, the county's moving theirs to $106 a ton. We use IWS for $103 a ton. So, this is over, obviously, what I budgeted for at the beginning of the year. And, recycling now is also $106 a ton. And it's $99 for us that using Beacon. Beacon recycling. TVs are going up to $20 from $10. People are already aggravated on paying $10, but we're gonna have to go with $20. Exactly, we don't, obviously, we're not making nothing on it. Whatever they're charging us, that's what we're charging them to get rid of it. So all that's going up, and I'll let you know how the budget's looking after this last payment, because
This could be a tight budget, tough budget, I should say, yeah.
it's taking
Because of that, the tipping fees and the building inspector's office, and it's a good thing we had a little healthy fund balance. That's what happens when you start dipping into the fund balance, you're ill prepared for these kind of situations. And it's gonna hurt us anyway. Anything else? Good news?
Yeah, I guess I'm good, just not, I just need to extend, Jake's to use the vacation time. He's got 53 hours to use by the 17th. I'm sure he'll use a few hours here and there, but,
When do you wanna extend it to?
let's do it till March 1st or something.
Okay.
It should be fine.
I'll make it.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
December was a long month for him, so,
Okay,
yeah,
it's done.
I'm glad December's over with.
Okay.
Other than that, I think we're good. I think we're good. I just need to get you and, me and Dave and you have a meeting once all bills are paid and just go over a few different things to go over with the building inspector's office and all that.
And let's start working on bids for that roof. The dormitory authority is not going to front the money to us, as was originally, well, was one of the options, but now let's get the bids together,
Okay.
do the roof, 2 or 3 months down the road, but let's start getting bids together. Bruce, did you ever get a chance to check that roof and see if we need rafter work or anything?
Yeah, well, I don't think you're gonna need to have anything done with that, because the building before held was slate shingles. So it was meant for that weight, so there should be.
Was
no
it
problem
slate
with
before we,
Originally, this building was slate,
a long time ago?
yeah, so.
Because the roof before this roof's been on about 25 plus years, close to it. And this roof was a golden cedar looking, I think it was a 3-tab even, before we put these architectural shingles on there.
There's no problem with holding the weight,
Okay. And then how's the plywood? We can replace that as need be?
as need be.
Well, for the slate, is it gonna be a 3/4 CDX plywood, or is it gonna be a 5/8, you think? Might have to be a 3/4, right?
Mike?
Okay. All right, let's get a handle on that before we go out to bid. And we're gonna match the shingles that are on the bandstand,
Yep.
with rubberized slate, which are still pretty heavy, but they're not as heavy as slate, so.
Yep.
But you sure it was slate on this roof then?
Yes, it was, at one time it was slate on the roof.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, Buddy, you're good, all right? All right, we need a motion to approve the village clerk, Montserrat Rivera Fernandez, to extend her leave time of 29.5 hours, which consists of 25 hours of vacation time. What's that?
I've got stuff to report on.
Okay, all right, let me get this finishes up then, Bruce, we'll come right back to you. Vacation time of 4.5 hours of personal time to use by January 31st, 2020. Motion?
I'll make it.
Right, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. And we need to go in not executive, is it executive under section the litigation section.
Proposed litigation section, yeah.
Okay, is that what you need to talk about?
Yes.
Or we're not gonna talk about that out here, Bruce?
Okay.
Anything else you wanna report?
No, everything else is going pretty good.
Your inspections, your office is coming along, I guess.
Everything's coming along, everything is coming along as well as expected.
All right, the ceiling tile, we're just waiting for that second sample, right?
Yep.
Okay. All right, good. Reappoint Registrar of Vital Statistics, Montserrat Rivera Fernandez for a 4-year term through January 24, and Tina Murphy as the Deputy Registrar. Motion?
Make it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. And we need a motion to reject the 2 bids, I guess. We need to go back to the drawing board on this, I believe.
Yes.
Okay. A little more information, the treasurer told me, so. Motion to reject the 2 bids we received on the audit. We need a second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, we need to consider updating the general code, and the total cost is $1,500.
Yes.
Melissa? Okay, do we have money in the budget to do that right now?
No,
No? Okay, let's look at, we'll consider doing that in the next year.
Because they wanna make the books bigger, and this is only for 5 books,
Only for $5?
yes,
Wow. Yeah, we'll look at that at budget time, and see what,
okay.
okay, and the village hall is closed, January 20th for Martin Luther King holiday. Grand Chamber Montgomery series is advertised on Sundays. January 19th is the next one. Anything else, Muncie, before I go to public portion?
That's everything.
That's everything? Okay. All right, motion, or actually, public portion. Yes.
Real quick, I noticed your public portion went down to 2 minutes from 3 minutes.
No, where's it saying
Right next to it.
that? Oh, no, that's, we didn't do that, did we?
We did, we told them to change it.
All right, well, let's leave it at 3 minutes. Let's put it back to 3 minutes.
Just 2 minutes for you.
Just
Yeah. The burger clause.
You have 1 minute left, yeah.
Talk fast.
If I told you that, I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
Curiosity, the job I left, and this is for everybody, we always had an emergency management plan in the railroad. If there was a problem with the railroad for train movements, they had a plan in which they had to take, regardless of their destination. My point is that when you have a closure down in 84, does Orange County have a plan? Did they have an emergency
Yeah,
management
emergency
plan?
management has a plan.
So
Yeah.
how come that didn't filter down into whatever happened on 84?
I'm sure that, I mean, if we weren't contacted, I'm
Yeah,
sure
they might not have
county
been not notified.
contacted, yeah.
That'd be a good question for Dominic Green, but we do have an emergency plan for the village of Montgomery.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
Well, I'm talking about the county.
Yeah, the
because
county.
of 84.
Yeah.
Well, the plan that I spoke about with Chief Amfleur would go a long way to address some of the other concerns about
Yeah,
commercial traffic in the future.
right.
Yeah, and even get the emergency management involved, that they should be notified. I mean, they're notified of hazmat and
That was
hurricanes, tornadoes and all that stuff.
Part of the biggest problem was lack of notification,
Right.
lack of official notification.
Yeah,
So there's not,
Yeah.
in other words, perhaps a county that already does it, they didn't get that information out to impose the emergency management plan for the closure of 84 in this section to where they divert traffic to.
yeah.
And
The
notifying.
question is, who is required to notify, is it state DOT or the state police? Neither one of them notified us in official
Yeah.
capacity.
Yeah.
Yes, we need to find out.
But if you put one of the signs on their road, they notify.
Put one up on 84 up there.
But that's a question, yeah, I just wonder how the county emergency management is involved in something like that. I don't know that they are, but I'm not positive, I could ask Don.
The other thing I'd just like to keep in mind, there was that really bad accident on 84, but in the past few months, there's been many accidents on 84 with closures. So we can't, everybody that's talking about that one accident, we've had quite a bit since September. Okay.
Particularly exit 5, yeah.
Yeah, exit 5 is the one. And so just keep that in mind, that it's just not that one time, it happens quite a bit. Other than that, I guess that's it for me.
And when that does happen, we should request the help of the state police too, and then help police,
If it's on
if they're available, yeah.
generally tied up at the sheriff's office.
In the sheriff's
Yeah.
or the town of Montgomery.
How come the state police is not open 24 hours in Labor Day anymore? They don't have, it's not.
It's not manned, it hasn't been for probably about 2 years.
Really? What happened there?
It's part of their cost savings initiative where
It would
they want
be
to
cost
speak to
savings if they didn't build a building.
troopers. You gotta go to the Middletown barracks.
So they haven't built it, they
They're
don't
not
use it.
using it.
All their phone numbers now ring over to the Middletown barracks.
Yeah, would you, I guess that particular day, it would have been nice if you had the state police there.
I mean, they're still operating out of there, they just don't have a trooper on the desk.
I was there one day and there was nobody there. You have to ring a bell
Yes.
and it goes to Middletown.
Yes, and they'll send the trooper.
Then you send the
Yeah.
trooper, yeah.
That's all the satellites, so.
Okay.
Just one second, I got this Fred first.
Okay, the question I have is, concerns the holiday weeks, a lot of confusion, Christmas, about garbage pickup, recyclables and things of that nature. So without contacting the hall here, there was nothing to be known. So we have the robocall for the concert series, for the water main break to update the residents. Why not include that for holiday weeks as well?
It's a good idea.
It was in the newsletter too.
It was in the newsletter, but yeah, that's a good idea. I mean, if we think of it, let's do it on a robocall. And seldom do we ever have 2 weeks in a row where we can't do, well, it could be actually, if we pick garbage pickup days, 2 Wednesdays in a row like Christmas was, and next year it'll be Thursday or Friday. I think it's a leap year, so it might be Friday, right? So that's a good point. You should do that, because some people don't realize, and it does, I'm ready to take all the recyclables out tomorrow morning myself, it's gonna take some fun.
No,
it's a good point, Fred. Yeah, let's try to do that, it's a good idea. Yes, sir.
Just jumping on this point, actually, while it's on my mind, I don't know if you see it on the back end, who signs up for that robocall, but I think a lot of people have recently, a lot of people didn't know about it until recent months. I'm talking to a lot of people and they say they're signing on to it, so I think it's an increasingly useful tool. Second point, are we, and just apologies if it's been publicly addressed in the last couple of months, are we confronting any costs related to the bail reform discovery laws that recently changed? Is there anything there that we need to be worried about budget-wise?
I don't think it's gonna affect the village of Montgomery. John Bureau and I are county legislators. We've unfortunately addressed it at the county level. We've added 4 ADAs at the county level, and the district attorney wanted even many more than that. And probation, we had to stick money into
I
contingency.
think it'll result in some overtime, because they have to continually fill out the reports and get them right up to the DA's office. And afterwards, they used to come in afterwards at their next shift. Now time is essential.
It will have some effect on overtime.
Yeah, well, I don't think it's gonna be a large cost to the village, but other agencies it will be.
Yeah, I brought it up only because I think some agencies are going to confront like technology improvements, software, stuff like that, to track some stuff.
It's probably one of the most important pieces of legislation I've ever seen.
Well, that aside, I just want to know
our senator
additional costs.
claims no responsibility, and I guess he's trying to, we knew that there were gonna be callbacks on it, or attempts to call back, because it's just, and actually it is gonna be more impacted on our agency too, because more criminals are gonna be out on the streets. We had a burglary in the village of Montgomery, and unfortunately, he was only given an appearance ticket, right?
Even though he had 27 previous arrests.
27 previous arrests, and he got an appearance ticket. And you saw the gentleman, down in Rockland County, I guess it was, I think it was Rockland County. The lady was killed in a DWI accident, and luckily, the ice picked him up, after that, but he was let go by this.
Well, I know who signed it, if anybody wants to know who signed it.
Yeah, I've seen
His name's on the bridge.
hundreds of emails over the last few Yeah, that's great. Thank you, yeah. But let's try to do the code red for the.
With the bail reform going out there and being a retired cop for many years, all this is gonna do is increase crime. And this is more the reason why we have to have our own village police department. We need to police ourselves. We can't depend on other police agencies to watch us. We've gotta take care of our own here, otherwise we're gonna go down the tubes. And Paul, to answer your question about signing up on the robocall, the village board and the police chief or a designated member of the police department, we go to everybody's house when they move into the village, and we make sure that they sign up or tell them about it. Now, Steve had an older folks had just moved in, they weren't too good with the computer, he actually sent somebody up there to get them on there. So we are trying to make sure everybody gets on this.
Yeah, I don't think there's any, I don't, pretend there's any lack of, attempts from anybody here.
Yeah.
I just hear recently, more and more people are, oh, I didn't even know that existed, and they're jumping right on it, so
Yeah.
I think it's,
We
every
met
day
a
that goes
lady
by,
when
it's
we,
more useful.
went around and welcomed village residents, and we could, Joanne, I think it was Darlene and I were trying to do it on her phone, and we couldn't do
Oh,
it,
yeah,
so
yeah,
we're gonna
yeah.
send her down to the police station the next day to get her signed up, but, yeah, we should put that in the next newsletter too, remind me, we'll put it, remind me
Okay,
that, because
yes.
some people don't mind those code reds, even for village events, so, good. Okay, yes, Bob.
Just a question, being the fire chief in the Montgomery Fire Department, police officer here, I hear a lot of the concerns going on about the tractor trailers coming through here, the overflow of the traffic coming from closures of 84 incidents. I know the town of Walk Hill has one set up, I'm pretty sure the town of Newburgh has one set up, but has the town of Montgomery and the villages that are inside the town ever thought about setting up an emergency management operation here? So it's not really a if, it's a when a major catastrophe happens here. We have Stewart Airport very close to our town, we have Orange County Airport close to our town. We've had multiple planes go down since I've been a member of my 20 years in the fire department, crashed just outside of this village. General Montgomery Day one year, we had one crash right off the airport. General Montgomery Day, we have an airplane go down in the village of Montgomery here with all the people that are here. Is there any kind of emergency management that the town and villages in this town have talked about setting up? That may alleviate the problems from, you know, the police chiefs and the communication going from here to state police to the sheriffs to Orange County 911.
That would be a good assignment for Officer Reynolds to just spearhead that.
Sounds like a good
I have enough on my plate. No, but seriously, we could start to form something,
I know
Bob
a
and
while back,
Dominic
they tried to
Green.
get it off
Yeah.
the ground and it
Yeah.
fell flat on its face in the town.
Mhm.
And I don't know if it was from what they had in, you know, town hall was trying to go back and forth of where they were gonna have town hall, and they never knew from one day to another if that building was gonna be there, if that's what they were gonna use, and I just, you know, we have a major railroad system going through here, we obviously had a train derailment not too long ago. Walk Hill River floods all the time, you know, it's only a matter of time before something possibly gets washed off the riverbank. Every time I go across Ward's Bridge, you know, you look at how much debris was around the middle of that, how many logs and stuff are backing that up, and then the places that sit on the river there, that hill has to just be getting washed away every day.
The gas pipe on Neely Town Road, your father was one of the ones who was instrumental with this code red.
That's a good point, but
So,
maybe you can check with Dominic Green and see how other committees like that are set up in other municipalities, and maybe we could boilerplate that and get some volunteers on that committee. We did look at that for a shelter for the senior center as well, so.
Yeah, I mean, it's not
Maybe just give us an
incidents that
idea, Bob,
happen
if you
here,
could, you can coordinate.
We had a
that.
hazmat incident that happened over at Do It Best a few years back. And we had to close 84, 208, 416, Neelytown Road, 211. You shut all those down. Luckily, it was like around midnight. But you start shutting all those arteries down, and what can you have coming into the village or going out of the village?
That's a good point.
Becomes a
I
problem.
know they focus on Indian Point, they do a lot of training for Indian Point, but maybe check with Dominic, you were the chief, and see how they set up those committees in other areas, and we can look at the boilerplate that in a sense.
Okay.
And look at that, no, it's a great concern, yeah. Thank you, Bob. Yes,
Just to
Randy.
jump on that, I am only saying the town, because I think a lot of us in this room have been spending a lot of time at the town level meetings lately. I feel like that's something that would be welcomed at the town level, so I'm excited to hear that there's support for that here. It's a good example of working together and combining, you know, services to make sure that everyone is safe. And are you Village of Walden Police? Did I make that up?
Full time, yeah.
Okay, so I mean, if you can bring that to them as well, I'm sure that it would not be shut down at the town level at this time.
okay,
And I would help.
good idea, thank you. Okay, anything else before we go into executive session? Yes.
Just a little input from somebody who's watching, Walt Pahuki, that the town of Walk Hill has an amazing emergency management department.
Joey Andre, and they have chief from Howell's Fire Department.
Ingrassi.
Yeah, Louis Ingrassi is
Oh,
over
yeah,
there.
Louis.
And they're very instrumental in that. I mean, Joey believes a police officer, he's a paid city Middletown Fire Department, and Louis has a large background, I believe it was DPW. So, it's not just the police and fire, it's, you know, somebody hits water lines here, you know, some kind of catastrophe happens here. I mean, the DPW needs to be involved, everybody. It's
Yeah,
the whole infrastructure, the whole town and village is combined.
and we see good response from what we've had, but I mean, it's scary what could happen, you know, I mean, you know, but the water leak, maybe crate that Buddy had on Goodwill Road was probably the worst we've ever had in our town, during our time, and it was, yeah, a lot of forces on that, but something like other things you're talking about could really be devastating, so. Good, thank you for that suggestion, yes.
That was Walt's. Since you guys are talking about the trucks and all, you know, my point of view is like the best at 211 and 17K, as Maria probably could attest to. The speed at which the trucks are coming through now has increased. I don't know if you're feeling the vibration.
I haven't noticed it,
But, you know, I went from windows sort of rattling, now the whole building is rattling. So, and I'm noticing too, when I do have a chance to look at them, it's like they've come through regularly, now they're coming through even faster. And we're talking tractor trailers that are making the turn quickly. And I'm sure freaking out the people on the other side, you know, they have to sort of make them move. But I've mentioned it in the past, the only reason why I bring it up too is there is a sign, you know, that tells you how fast you're going. You know, and I was told that it was broken.
We used to have one of those, right?
Yeah, I was told it was broken. Is it going to be fixed? Do I need to talk to somebody in the town?
It can be fixed. It's very old. It's probably, what do you say, 20 years old. We've had it repaired once, and that cost about $3,500.
Okay. Just
We
seems
missed
like
a grant last year, didn't we, for a new sign, was it? Speed sign?
They wouldn't fund that for us. You're talking about the county grant?
Right.
Yeah.
So we can put it
It
again?
has to be related to terrorism. It's hard to articulate speed sign related to terrorism.
Well, that's how we got the quad.
Yes.
Because it was related to terrorism because of the train derailment.
Yes.
Could be logically thought of as that, so.
In the interim, it would be nice to see them getting pulled over for the speed that they're going down 17K. And I know nobody wants to pull a truck over, but if you follow them out of the village, I'm sure there's plenty of places that you can pull them over, you know, on 17K when they're going across the bridge. Evening, do we have 24 hours here now? I mean, I think we do, right? So somebody, I mean, they're coming through really fast in the evening as well. And, you know, I mean, that's 17K, I'm sure.
So 2 months ago, there was some concern expressed at the board meeting, and we created a directed patrol for 17K and 211 for the trucks, turning and writing violations for that. Had some debate with the DPW commissioner regarding feasibility of doing that, but we did it anyway, and it resulted in 0 tickets. The trucks are making the turn generally safe. Do they go up on the sidewalk? They do. The intersection is not engineered properly.
I don't think any tractor trailer that comes through 17K and 211 is on the other side of the road. That is like not safe.
Right.
So don't.
That's akin to a speed trap. So I mean, setting up, writing the tractor trailers that are crossing over the double yellow line to make a turn, which the state engineered these roads improperly for a tractor trailer who has a right to make that turn can't properly make the turn.
Right, so I hear the excuse that it's a state road, we can't do anything about it, it's a state road, we can't do anything about it. So if it's a safety issue, we should be able to do something about it. If they can't cross, I mean, I fear for anybody that crosses.
Breaking the law. If you can't cross the line, you can't cross the line. It really shouldn't matter what the state says about you writing tickets for them to break the law. Let them deal with it.
They're not telling me when to write tickets. I don't think that's what I said.
It's what you said at the last meeting, though. You said something along the lines of that you could write tickets, and it would be good for us to be DOT certified, and you can write them for crossing over the line.
And we've investigated certifying officers in weights and measures. It's a long process. You have to work with DOT for a year, which we're going to start that process. They will not even invite you to the school until you've worked with them in that capacity for a year. They will not provide funding for portable scales and the instruments that you need to properly inspect trucks, but they have agreed to work with us over the next year so that we can be invited to send officers to be certified. You know,
Our state troopers, do they have the equipment? Why,
they,
you know, we have
they're the
local,
ones that run the
right.
checkpoint on 84, yeah.
So why aren't a few of them here, you
It's not
know,
all
getting
of them.
some,
It's not all of them, it's just certain ones they certify. So they're not all, they're not all DOT certified, it's just the ones they have there.
right.
It's the details.
Yeah,
It's
it's
the
a
scales
detail.
detail. So specific troopers are sent to the school.
Right,
then
and
they're
they're,
assigned
and
to
so
the
when they
scales
do,
detail, that's why you see them in a black jumpsuit and not driving a van as opposed to a patrol car and a trooper uniform. That's their job.
but I mean, we seem to, it's like the new normal now for them to hit telephone poles with metal on it, which is now fallen further down. So now they're clipping the wood off of that pole right there at 17K 211. They're going over the sidewalks, and it's not just no-name tractor trailers. I mean, I could start taking pictures for you. There's Do It Best. Medline came through today, which was interesting.
Well, this is my beef with the state. This is a colonial road that people march down with muskrats. And I don't mean on General Montgomery Day. And now the state took it over and they're allowing wide loads to go down here. But they have done nothing to make it wider. And if they do, they're gonna affect people's property. So when you do something like that, and you can't maintain it, and I think you should turn it over to the village and let us police it. But they don't. They don't. They can't police it. They don't have the manpower to make sure that they're not skating around the DOT on Rock Hill. So we're kind of at their mercy.
So just one last thing is I find too, one of the things I'm sure a lot of them come through is their GPS tells them to come through. It's a quicker, faster way for them. Do It Best, you know, maybe it's easier to come through the village and go up 17K than it is to go to 17, you know, to go down Neely Town Road, get on 84 and go up 17. So they are coming through because it's the better way for them to come. But for the ones that the GPS is not working correctly, let's say, and they come down to 11, I was at ShopRite, and there was a truck that came in, I knew it was lost, it went through ShopRite where it shouldn't have gone to make a U-turn to go back out to 208. So why not have a sign on 211 if it's a state issue, and they need to put their signs out there, why not have something right there, 416 and 211 saying 84 that way? So they're not coming down 211, they're stopping right there.
I'll bring that up. I'll bring that up in the meeting. Again, I'm getting nowhere with the state.
And for the trucks that are going off on from, I heard today from someone that, you know, going over the bridge, they're going to Bridge, then Charles, and then making a right on 208. Why isn't there just no trucks allowed right there? I mean, just something that's in their face. You know, I don't know if, depending on where you put them, they're going so fast. I don't even know if they're going to read them. I know they're supposed to, but
It's in the infant stages. Believe me, I have an interest in this big time. We'll see where we're going on this. Like I said, I spoke to many truck drivers. I spoke to state troopers, DOT state troopers. Truck drivers were like, there's no reason we would go through here unless we're making a local delivery or got lost. But we don't want to go through here. My wife drives a school bus here. She's like, oh my God, there's a big truck coming through. She's been driving a school bus for years, but it gives you white knuckles going through here. It's the truckers that are trying to avoid that. They'll go through Ors Mills Road or here. They're trying to avoid DOT. The UPS driver, the FedEx driver, he's above board. It's his company truck. It's got good brakes, good tires, everything. The guy who doesn't have good brakes, good tires, he wants to sneak through here, or he wants to.
But they're coming through too. See, I see it all the time. There's FedEx, there's UPS,
Of course,
there's all these
course.
trucks coming through. So it's not just the no-name
You always
trucks.
get a dolphin and a tuna net, okay? But there's a lot of tunas coming through here.
Bobby, wait a minute, no, you got Bobby and Randy.
Even with an emergency vehicle, driving a fire truck, I can tell you right now, you have to go onto that yellow line. And I think from Clinton Street to Ward Street on Union Street is a choke point in this village. And mainly because it's the curbing in front of Garrison's, maybe. You have a passenger get out of the vehicle, you got a curb cut that's almost 1.5 feet high, everybody hits their door on it. So that leads somebody to park further away from the curbing than they normally would. And I don't know if any of you experienced this, but coming across Clinton Street, or coming across Union Street on Clinton, you can't see a car if it comes off of Ward Street. And that's where most of our accidents in this village have happened. People getting T-boned at that intersection. Because you cannot see the vehicles coming from Ward Street down Union Street when you're coming from Clinton going across.
Yeah,
So I don't know if maybe it's a parking issue from Clinton Street to Ward Street on Union, or what it is, but I really think that curb in front of Garrison's is a lot of the problem.
All
Yeah,
you
we
need
might
is
have to
like one
address that,
delivery
yeah.
truck sitting where it's not supposed to. And then tractor trailers have an issue coming through because
Won't be able to.
Won't be able to lower the curb, right?
That curb is so high and so far out there, I mean, if
I know.
you were able to push that back and lower it,
Have to
it's
raise
not
the
a
road.
problem.
Have to raise the road,
Building,
like I
the
said, yeah.
handicap accessibility.
And that intersection, 17K and 211, we did fix up that quite a few years ago. We fixed up that catch basin, which was terrible. It was a huge sinkhole for years, and now it's starting to become that way again, I think, isn't it?
A lot of traffic on it, yes.
Yeah. So, Randy and then Don.
So if the police all are in agreement, and the DPW and the trustee, I'm just confused as to where the disconnect is and why we're not all making more noise and making more of an effort to all come together and bring all of these points together. There's traffic and safety, there's, a DPW with the infrastructure, like there's so many points that everyone has and everyone seems to be in agreement, so I just don't understand why it seems to be like one person at a time. I'm making calls to the DOT, Mike's making calls to the DOT, why isn't there more of a concerted effort to maybe have a separate meeting about this and discuss all the points and have a well-written and well-informed argument to make to them and make a bigger stink about it. I mean, if this is something we're all in agreement on and nobody's saying, nah, it's fine, and we're all saying it's a poorly engineered and it's a state issue for that intersection, why are we not all coming together a little bit better and making a little bit more of a stink about it?
Well, I made a lot of think about it with the state, and I'm continuing on that. As far as our committee, we're looking to just deflect it, not enforce. I mean, the police will enforce it. We don't even want to be. We don't even want to be. We don't even. So that's what my job is. Just keep them out of here. Go somewhere else. Go on 84 or 416. And like I said, we're preparing if development happens. If it doesn't happen, we're still prepared because
Right, which I
eventually
agree with, but it
development's
seems
gonna
like
happen.
all things point back to the issue is that intersection, and that intersection is a state intersection, so we need to go look a little bit farther into the future and at the bigger picture a little bit, and stop focusing on why it's a problem for him and me and you and this person, and all come together and really work harder at getting that entire intersection redesigned from the state. I mean,
I'm just asking, how do you think it should be redesigned? I'm just
I have
asking.
no idea, I'm
Yeah, I
not an
don't either.
engineer or.
We should,
I don't know,
meet
but I
with the
know
state
what
and try
it
to,
is.
but it's still gonna be a huge time lag. I mean, look at the cross, look at the
But we have to
the
start
railroad
somewhere.
crossing, off of Spring Street, right on, Ward Street. Look, it took forever to get that done. Look at the school, the signal light at Valley Central that they've been trying to get for how long, it doesn't happen overnight, unfortunately.
I don't
Even
expect
if
you to, I'm just
yeah.
saying, are we working together to start somewhere?
Oh, yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
we are.
I think we are, yeah.
I would just wonder how they would redesign 211 and 17K. Would they take out buildings or something? You know, how would that happen?
There's got a plan. It's been out there for 15 years, a long time ago,
Right.
and they just.
I was pretty.
Can we
much
get a copy of
for it.
that plan? Can you get a copy of that plan?
I'll have to look for it, yeah, it was years ago, actually, when Mark built, across the street there,
They went on True Light there too.
yeah, they actually had him jog out that curb, so when the trucks make a left, they can go out into that jog, that's why there's no parking in that jog. People didn't understand what that's for, and that's for the trucks when they came out, so if somebody else develops it, I'm sure they'll make them do the changes, because they had Mark do that, or Ed, I'm not sure which one it was.
You've got
Well, let's see if we get a copy of that and ask them to, and then we can set up a meeting, I mean, certainly, we can try to expedite it the best we can and bring some powers together that need be, so.
But you go, okay, well, point, Steve, the high school, the middle school, and they don't have a light in front of that place.
It doesn't move quickly, I know.
Yeah, they just don't.
It's terrible.
Okay, we brought it up at the last meeting, Mike touched a little bit on it tonight, and Steve wasn't here really to answer the question, but last month, remember I brought up, that there was actually a wide load came down 211 to this intersection, couldn't make that turn and screwed up the whole intersection for quite a long time. To that, are wide loads allowed to go down 211? Or not, wide loads, and I try to explain to the board, are permitted, and they have to have designed road access, and everybody has to be informed that they're coming. And sure enough, we had that one come down 211 and just screwed this whole thing up, and I can't imagine.
Was there an escort vehicle?
An escort vehicle. And I just can't imagine that that would be allowed to come down a highway such as 211. Even from.
I wouldn't think so either, really.
No, I don't either.
They usually stay on mainframe roads, you know?
Yeah, depending if it was a modular house, if they're going to a site.
Well, if it's a modular house,
Again,
you know,
it sounds like lack of notification.
Okay.
You'll see sometimes where state police will escort a wide load through certain sections that will be clogged. If they had told us they were coming, we certainly could have got them to the intersection.
But I don't know what the hell is wrong with
If
New
it's a
York State,
local
but in New Jersey,
delivery.
when I worked in there, when I had to take my trucks and they were wide loads, we would have to have a permit issued before we could even get on the road.
Right.
And every municipality would be aware of it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what goes on in this state, but.
Was it a modular home?
No, it was not. You know what it was? It was one of those barns.
Okay, so it's probably a local-ish delivery, but they still should have notified us, because we could have got them to the intersection.
Was it like Gray's Woodworking Barn?
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a pool.
And the other thing,
Yeah, I've seen big pools.
one
come
more
through.
little thing, and I don't want to throw you under the bus, Paul, here, maybe, you know,
Wouldn't be the
peace,
first
man,
time.
peace. That intersection, Paul has done it for me, and, you know, he's really good at it, he knows what he's doing. It would seem to me if the village presented evidence of the safety issues to the DOT, recorded evidence, like, for instance, I've seen it many, many times, I'm sure Diana's seen it, I'm sure you've seen it, that where cars are backing up that hill,
Yes.
where a tractor trailer making that turn, and I've seen it where school buses there backing up that hill.
I've got
If we
video.
had video evidence.
I'll count cars for anybody.
I have video.
Okay,
I have video if you want it.
He did it one time for me, and I just think that would be something that if you presented it to the DOT, hence what Randy's trying to say, that would perhaps move a meeting together with everybody on site in more of an expedient manner. Just like that.
And we're not the only ones experiencing it. Walden's complaining about it. You know, they've got bad intersections at 52, and you know, they're making turns where they shouldn't be. Anyway,
I would hope that would happen, but they still don't have a light in front of the school here. With school buses, kids, teachers, 17K, with Dollar General across the street, they still don't have a light on that. I was on the committee to get a light put in front of East Colton here, and that took years.
That's terrible.
So I wouldn't hold my breath. That's why I think we gotta worry about ourselves and deal around these state roads. Cause they're not,
somebody just made a comment, Walt again, about possibly a four-way stop sign at Clinton and 211, since it's such a concern. I mean, I don't know if that would be possible, if that would just back traffic up, but it is a bad.
Exacerbated worse than it already is.
And I don't know if taking away a parking spot like there at the corner would help. You know, because I think it's usually
It might-
can't see.
Take away a parking spot, then there's a box truck parked on Union Street, you still get nowhere there.
Yeah, it's always been an issue. It's always, and I just don't know how to resolve it, really.
Same coming up Charles Street.
We're so limited for parking as it is downtown too, so it's.
And with the trucks coming through on, you know, roads where people are, you know, walking across, they can't stop so quick. So, I mean, it's such a safety issue. I don't understand why the state isn't doing something about it.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session under section F of the open meetings law to interview a police officer, and legal and produce afterwards. Motion?
Okay.